Thank you so much, Liz. Stoli is a brand that originated in Russia, has been around for over 100 years. John Esposito is the Stoli Group USA President. Jerry Baker from the Wall Street Journal is with us. Good to have you, sir. Thank you so much for joining us.
Good morning. Happy to be here.
I'd love to get your take on this because Stoli is an international brand. You just told us during the break it is bottled in Luxembourg. Smirnoff is owned by Diageo, and almost all the brands you think of as Russian are actually owned by international conglomerates.
I think many of them started in Russia. So Stoli actually is owned by a company that's headquartered in Luxembourg. Okay, it's a brand that started in Russia over 100 years ago. It started being imported into the United States in 1973. First by Pepsi, which was kind of an interesting story. It was more of a barter deal. And then in 1991, the new owner bought Stoli from the Russian government, and we've been producing in 170 countries now. We're sold in 170 countries. We're not sold in Russia anymore, as that Russia kept the brand to themselves.
So has anything changed for your business as we have seen the developments in Russia and Ukraine?
No, it really hasn't. It was interesting. We probably had more of a backlash last year during the Olympics around the LGBT crisis than we have about the Ukraine crisis here.
Is it now? Just to be clear, so that you actually bottle this in Latvia? I think
we bottle in Latvia,
not in Russia.
Yeah. We have wheat fields that are in Russia.
Right.
We have an alcohol production plant where we get make the alcohol in Russia, then we transport that to Latvia, where we have artisan wells, and we make the vodka. It becomes vodka in Latvia.
What's the biggest market for vodka?
The U.S. by far.
And you said earlier that vodka is 36% of all alcohol consumption.
Exactly right. Of all spirits consumption. Vodka is 36%. So
how's business right now?
Our business is good. The Stoli was always imported through separate importers, third-party importers for the last number of years. And then last year, in 2014, the owner decided he wanted to have his own company and really take care of the brand. I've been in this business for over 40 years, and then I retired for a year and came back out to do this, and because it's a great brand, and it's something about brands, and so we've been managing the brand for the last year, and we had to fix a few things in the first half of the year, but if you take the second half of the year, the last 6 months, year over year, we're up 5%, so we're growing nicely. The category is growing less than 2%.
What's changed in the 40 years since you've been doing this? It seems to me one of the things that's changed is that vodka's become a very stylish drink. When I was growing up, vodka was honestly the kind of thing desperately you'd do last thing at night and you couldn't get anything else. But these days, like sports stars and movie stars, it seems to have become the kind of perhaps even the most glamorous spirit. Is that right?
Yeah, I think it.
And there are flavors.
Flavors, yeah, right. Flavors is a story we can go into, but I'll tell you what's happened to answer your question. What's happened to vodka is that I think as vodka has come up and brands have, we were the first one to import a vodka to the United States in 1973, and we were the first ones to introduce flavors into the United States. So I think what's happened is that there's more cachet to the brands. The people, the way they drink it, when you think of Cosmos, you think of martinis. It's in the elegant glass. It's become much more stylish, and it's easy to consume in a number of different ways, whether it's a mixed drink or it's a martini. So I think it's become a larger part of the repertoire. I think the other thing that's changed for the consumer, when I was growing up, you drank beer or whiskey or whatever. Now your repertoire that you drink depends on who you're with, when you go out, and vodka fits a lot of those categories for you.
How important is seasonality for you? I mean, do you see a spike around the holidays?
Oh, absolutely. It is. Spirits business does November, December do about 40% of the business in those 2 months. But we have a very good seasonality in the summertime when drinks like the Moscow Mule, come about, lemonade, things like that, very refreshing drinks, and it works very, very easily for people.
And you brought some treats. Tell us about what you're showing off here on set.
What we have here is obviously this is Stoli USA, and this is Stoli Elite, which is really the first luxury vodka made, selling for about $60 a bottle. A fantastic product, freeze filtration. Never usually get that out pretty well, but basically,
especially after 1 or 2 days.
Actually, I should have had 1 or 2. But by filtering it, we filter out all the impurities out of it. It's a fantastic tasting product.
That's why it's a premium product.
Exactly right. Yeah.
What about that ginger beer? The ginger beer, is that non-alcoholic?
That's non-alcoholic. Okay. We produced it this year. As you said a little bit before, you said about flavors, and I think there's been a proliferation of flavors into the vodka category. And so we were looking at what's innovation going to look like going forward. It's not going to be just another flavor. We looked at the Moscow Mule and saw how this drink was extremely popular and starting to explode. But we started to make it with different ginger beers. It wasn't working for us. So we had the opportunity to create our own ginger beer. We used a company called Nulio, which helped us do consumer research. We got it in 7 days. And our target audience was the millennial consumer.
Is that right?
And through the research that we did, we were able to determine that the 8.4 ounce can was the one that was going to work. Obviously, a lot of work going on with Red Bull and that can that works. It also works as 2 servings in a bar, so there's not a lot of waste. But we blended the product to work with vodka, where many ginger beers are heavy and they dominate the drink. This actually makes a great drink. And the mule is going fantastically well. It's simply because what's happening is that it's vodka, ginger beer, lime, ice, and you're done.
Oh, that sounds good.
Well, thank you for bringing it in. I mean, I don't know about you. I don't normally drink this time of the morning.
As soon as we take a break, we can do one.
But I'm told that keeping to a strict drinking schedule is the first sign of alcoholism, so we should get started. Yeah.
Really quick, in terms of the huge move we've seen in the commodities complex, what kind of an impact have you seen as a result of, so many commodities moving lower right now?
Well, for us, we're wheat, and we have our own wheat fields in Russia, and then we obviously contract for the rest of it. So anytime you get a lower cost that's good for you, you can build your business up, and it comes out quite nicely for us. So it's a good deal.
John, it's been great having you on the show today.
Thanks, Maria. Nice to see you.
Thank you so much. Merry Christmas to you. John Esposito, Jerry Baker sticking around. Have Americans flip the switch?